let's get back to the chicken, shall we? Why did he cross the road? This, according to Rob Bell, the chicken crossed the road to get cool glasses, because he wears really cool glasses. And maybe you didn't know this, that William Shatner runs a seminary, and Rob Bell apparently took a homiletics class there, because there's no other explanation for why he talks like this. Furthermore, Rob Bell, he has wandered away from the straight and narrow, redefining hell, redefining marriage, and worst of all, he now does a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Enough said. Why did the chicken cross the road? According to a preterist. Ooh, that's because the chicken was fleeing the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. There are preterists and there are partial preterists. What's the difference? Ooh, a lot. You see, probably all of us believe that some of the prophecies that we see in the New Testament, specifically from Jesus, were fulfilled in AD 70 when the temple came a-tumbling down. R.C. Sproul identifies himself squarely as a partial preterist, and that's just fine. We can debate those details. However, there's other folks who are full-blown preterists, and they believe everything was fulfilled when the tumble went kafritz in AD 70. Now, we got to be really careful on that side of the preterist equation, because it's very, very easy, and everybody's got little shades of preterism, to fall into the land of heresy, and you don't want to go to that side of the road. Why did the chicken go there? According to Jim Wallace, it's because the chicken is an organizer for Occupy Barnyard, which is weird, because I didn't know there was such a thing. He's a Christian who loved Occupy Wall Street, and actually he loves pretty much anything that's raging liberal. He even likes Jimmy Carter. Wow. Why did the chicken cross the road? The emergent folks would say, for this chicken, it's not the destination that's important, it's the journey itself. Do you remember the emergent movement? They were all the rage a number of years ago, but they seem to be quiet, but they're not. Instead, as predicted, the folks who were in the journey movement, and I'm not talking about one of the greatest singers from all times in the 80s, Steve Perry. The journey that they're on is, hey, we're all just trying to figure this thing out, and come on with us on the journey. Doesn't really matter where you come from, where you're going, where you're at. We're just journeying together. Well, I'd like to stop believing that, because that's just not the way the Christian walk is. Jesus has set out the steps for us. The emergent movement, very loosey-goosey. Many of the leaders, not all, but many of the leaders were downright wonky, and they kind of disbanded because there was no traction that seemed to be gained, and it was a disorganized mess, no leadership that gave it any structure. Besides, how could you have structure? We're just journeying together. Where did all of those people go? Like seeds. They just, like feathers from a pillow. They just went flying into the winds, and they planted themselves in churches of varying stripes and shades. So the emergent movement is not dead. It didn't coalesce. Instead, it's scattered everywhere, and that actually might make it even more dangerous. Why did the chicken cross the road? N.T. Wright, this act of the chicken, which would be unthinkable in British barnyards, reeks of that American individualism that is destructive to community. Well, that's a new perspective. Why did the chicken cross the road? According to a fundamentalist, because his pastor told him to. I love our fundamentalist brothers and sisters. They, probably more than any stripe of Christianity, they listen to what their pastor says and they follow it. And I dig that, but we also have to remember that every man is a priest of his own household. Why did the chicken cross the road? This from John Shelby Spong, the heretic. The road probably doesn't even exist. And traditional beliefs regarding the road must be updated for the modern farm. John Shelby left the Christian farm a long time ago. He says that he's heretical. He doesn't even believe in the existence of God and nothing biblical, and yet somehow he hasn't been booted out of the Episcopalian denomination. Oh, wait, did I just say that? Why did the chicken cross the road? From Catherine Jefferds Schori, who used to lead the Episcopalian denomination. The great Western heresy is the belief that any chicken can cross the road individually. Now, we don't have time for me to do it at her actual pace. Just like a beating. But those words are basically right out of her mouth, except with the poultry innuendo. She's a universalist. All people are going to heaven. All roads lead to the great big barnyard in the sky. She just retired, and I'm sorry, but I say, good riddance. Why did the chicken cross the road? Oh, the New Apostolic Reformation says because it was on fire! And isn't that why every chicken should cross the road?